chair come on? Good evening and welcome to our Tuesday, August 4th, 2026 Clay County Planning and Zoning meeting. A few housekeeping rules, please. Tonight we'll hear 4 cases. We'll begin with a report from the Planning and Zoning staff that will summarize each case prior to any discussion the board members may have. We'll then ask the applicant to step up to the podium to answer any questions and present support for their application. We ask the applicant to begin by stating their name and address for the record as these meetings are recorded. We will then ask for any public participation that may support the case being heard, and then anyone that may oppose the case being heard. Again, we ask any participant to begin by stating their name and address. And please remember to keep, that the topic of conversation needs to remain pertinent to the case being heard. 2 of the cases tonight will go to the County Commission on either August 20th or August 27th. Those are cases PZ 26-116 and PZ 26-123. You'll need to contact the Planning and Zoning staff for any details. Could we begin tonight with a roll call?
Yes, Chairman. Tom Degenhart.
Yes.
David Rodas.
Yes.
Tom Decker.
Present.
Joanne Lawson.
Here.
Larry Yateman.
Present.
Mark Beggs.
Present.
And Chairman Randall Morris.
Present. Could we have a motion to approve the minutes of our May 5th, 2026 meeting as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of May 5th, 2026.
Is there a second?
Second.
Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Tom Decker.
Yes.
Mark Beggs.
Yes.
Tom Degenhart.
Yes.
David Rodas.
Yes.
Joanne Lawson.
Yes.
Larry Yateman.
Yes.
And Chairman Randall Morris.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, the first case we will hear tonight is case number PZ 26-115. It is a request for rezoning from residential low density R1A district to residential ranchette R-5 district with an agricultural land preservation overlay district, and final plat approval for the proposed subdivision, Thoman Addition, third plat, located at approximately 18205 State Route 33. The applicant is Lauren Thoman. Could we have a staff report, please?
Yes, Chairman. Would like to add the staff report as part of the official record.
So be it.
So Thoman Addition, third plat. I've got it pulled up on the screen, and as it currently is highlighted in yellow. It was platted previously as a replat of Thoman Addition. As the chairman said, it's zoned R1A, which is residential low density. That's a zoning that is not in the current code. It's equivalent to an R1 zoning currently. This parcel has access from 33 Highway, which you can see on the top of your screen, and Burris Road to the east. It's approximately 16, 17 acres, and there is an existing home on the property. So here is what they're proposing, basically to divide the lot into 3 5-ish acre lots. I have lots 4, 5, and 6 there because that's how they're numbered on the plat. So there are not 6 lots, that's just how they're numbered, there are only 3 lots. The zoning would be changed to residential ranchette. That is the county's current standard for lots that are 5 acres but less than 10. And there is a little bit of floodplain on the south and west of this property, but each lot has quite a bit of buildable area. And by dividing this, the 2 lots that do not currently have a house would be allowed 1 single-family home. So we always talk about the comprehensive plan. This parcel is very far north. It's in the managed growth area because it's within a mile of the city of Holt. So if I go back a screen, you can see on the right lower corner, that is Holt city limits. So it is right across the street from Holt city limits. And in this area, the comp plan does not give us a minimum acreage. It says that we need to consult with the closest city, in this case Holt, and they provided comments that they have no concerns with the 5-acre lots in this area. We always talk about the rezoning criteria. So I'm not going to go through these individually, but they were included in your staff report. It talks about being consistent with the comp plan, not having significant adverse impacts on adjacent properties, and some additional items. Staff believes those have been addressed. Here is the surrounding area. So that is the subject parcel. You can see it's a mix of agricultural and residential. Anything that is orange or yellow is zoned residentially. And then anything that is south of Clinton County, that's in Clay County, that does not have color is Holt city limits. So it is mainly agricultural, but there are some 3 to 5 to 10 acre lots in the area as well. We have not received opposition to this case. We sent 28 certified letters to adjacent property owners. Both Road and Bridge and MoDOT have reviewed the proposed development, as has Clay County Public Health for septic systems, and Water District 3 has given their approval, and Holt Fire District was sent a review, but no comments were received from the Fire District. So this is a rezoning and final plat. It does not have a preliminary plat because it was platted previously. The section of code that talks about the final plat basically states that it needs to be consistent with the preliminary plat. So it doesn't really apply in this case. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. There are 2 conditions added to this case, and after having more discussion with Road and Bridge and the applicant, staff is requesting that you approve it with only condition number 1 and not condition number 2. And I would be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Do any board members have questions of the staff?
I do not.
No. Okay. Could we get the applicant, please? Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Lauren Thoman. My address is 19402 Burris Road, Holt, Missouri. And this is I'm here because of my dad, Darrell Thoman, who owned the land, passed away February 28th. In his will, he wanted this to be split, as you see there on the screen, to be then given to my sister and myself, split up this way. So I'm following it as the executor of his estate. This will be one of the last things that I finished before I'm completed with that work. So I have spoken to all the neighbors. since we've been here for 50-plus years. We know all of them very well, and they've all have no issues with it at all. So.
Okay. Do you understand the staff report? And do you have any questions?
What was the first
Do
question?
you understand the staff report? And
Yes,
do you
I
have any
understand the
questions
staff.
of
Yes.
it?
There's no questions.
Okay,
The staff, by the way, there has been fantastic.
all right. Members of the board, any question for the applicant?
I do not.
No? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll open the meeting to the floor. Are there any people present who would like to speak in favor of this application? Seeing none, are there any who would like to speak against it? Okay, hearing none, then we would entertain a motion for the, we have two motions we'll need. The first motion will be for the rezoning from residential low density to residential ranchette. Can I receive a motion for that, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the rezoning for the third plat of Thoman Addition.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Could we get a roll call, please?
Tom Decker,
Yes.
Joanne Lawson,
Yes.
Tom Degenhart,
Yes.
David Rotis,
Yes.
Larry Yateman,
Yes.
Mark Beggs,
Yes.
and Chairman Randall Morris.
Yes.
Motion carries.
For the second motion, the staff want us to remove the second condition. Could we get a motion, if that is, should open that up for discussion to the board? Is that acceptable?
No, I think that's good.
No problems? Okay, could we get a motion for the final plat for the proposed subdivision minus the second, or with only the first part of Exhibit A?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the final plat of Thoman Addition third plat with the conditions shown in Exhibit A, just number one, with number one condition of Exhibit A only.
Could I get a second, please?
I'll second.
Could I get a roll call, please?
Mark Beggs,
Yes.
Tom Degenhart,
Yes.
David Rotis,
Yes.
Tom Decker,
Yes.
Joanne Lawson,
Yes.
Larry Yateman,
Yes.
and Chairman Randall Morris.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to the second case, case number PZ 26-116. This is a request for rezoning from agricultural district to residential ranchette R-5 district with an agricultural land preservation overlay district and preliminary plat approval for the proposed subdivision Petty Farm, located approximately 12518 Northeast Mount Olivet Road. The applicant is Brock Nemeth, representing Glenn and Martha Petty Trust. Could I get a staff report, please?
Yes, Chairman, would like to add it as part of the official record.
So be it.
So Petty Farm, so this is there's a little bit more to this case. So it's outlined in yellow on the screen. You can see it abuts Kansas City city limits to the south. So it is off of Mount Olivet Road where it turns from Sherman to Mount Olivet. The parcel that we're talking about today is approximately 133 acres. There's an additional approximately 140 acres that the property owners own that's inside Kansas City, Missouri. The part that is in unincorporated Clay County is zoned agricultural. It has a home and farm buildings currently on the property. And what they're proposing, and I know there's a lot on the screen, I'll show you the plat blown up here in a minute, but they're proposing to bring in new interior streets there are 3 cul-de-sacs. There would be 21 lots that would range from 5 acres to 9.41 acres. The streets would be required to be curb and guttered. Since each lot is 5+ acres, the Land Development Code allows a septic system to be put on each lot. There is a connection from the street to the the South Street that would stub to the property to the south for future development. And you'll see in the conditions that staff is proposing a right-of-way to be stubbed to the west as well, if that ever develops. So there could be future interconnection with that land as well. The zoning for this would be R5, just like the first case, because all the lots are between 5 and 10 acres. And Tract A, which is the far southeast corner, is the only open space as part of this proposal. The applicant has indicated that they would like that for access to the south as well. So you'll see one of the conditions talks about adding right-of-way within that Tract A, if that is what it is to be used for. Now this project, since it has interior streets, will be done in 2 phases, basically. What you're hearing tonight is the rezoning preliminary. This is the meeting that decides, does this project at this density in this location make sense with the comprehensive plan, the land development code, and the county? If this gets approved, then the applicant would provide construction plans for all the infrastructure to be put in. The county on-call engineer would review those plans, and then once those are approved, the applicant would be required to submit a final plat. Now, if that, under our new regulations in the LDC, if that plat matches the preliminary plat, it does not have to come back for public meetings. Staff can approve the final plat if it matches. So here's a blown up picture of the plat. And I might go up here and draw just a little bit, so it's a little bit easier. And maybe I won't. But as I stated, there is just one stub street coming off Mount Olivet, and then all of the lots, most of the lots have access from that interior street. You can see where those 2 red rectangles are. Those would be shared driveways between 4 of the lots on Mount Olivet. And then there would be 2 additional lots that would also have access from Mount Olivet, shown in the green. However, they are not shared. So the 2 red are shared between 2 lots. The 2 green are just single access lots off Mount Olivet. The traffic analysis was included in the staff report, and that's what the traffic analysis addressed. Here is the area. There's the subject property. Anything without color is inside Kansas City city limits. You can see still a lot of ag in this area. I'm going to show you a farther out picture and go back to that. So this one's just a little bit farther out, and you know, this is something that Mr. Beggs brought up at the previous meeting. You can kind of see in the unincorporated sections where it's yellow and orange, those are 3 to 5 acre lots that are kind of forming a barrier as you get a little bit outside city limits, where it's going to be tough for the city to continue to do what it's doing there, because you can see all those high density developments inside Kansas City are starting to creep north towards unincorporated. And I should point out that the Brooks, which is directly north, those are, I think, 3 to 5 acre lots in that unincorporated subdivision. So it is a unique area that Kansas City has done some development. Kansas City was included in the review and adoption of the comprehensive plan, and they included this area in their annexation area as residential low density. When I think of residential low density, I think of maybe 3 to 5 acre lots. By Kansas City's code, their definition of residential low density is 6,000 to 10,000 square feet. So there's a little bit of a difference there. However, and I'll talk about this, I guess, with this slide, when we reached out to Kansas City, even though this is in an area that they indicated they would look at annexing, they gave no meaningful comments at all. Kind of disappointed in that, since it was mentioned in the newly adopted comp plan. However, our comprehensive plan says if they do that, then we are to judge this as if it's in the next closest land use tier, which in this instance would be the estate residential, which is a 5-acre area. So for multiple reasons, staff believes this is consistent with the comprehensive plan. And I'm going to go past this one. Talked about the rezoning criteria. The applicant is responsible for showing that these criteria have been addressed. Staff does not have concerns currently with these criteria with the proposal as it is. We have not received opposition to date for this case. We sent a total of 31 letters, went through our normal public notice process, and then went to all the outside agencies. Road and Bridge has recommended approval. You'll notice in the staff report that the health department recommended that a central sewer system should be considered for this project, but they also approved this proposal as is for septic systems. So as I stated earlier, the county requirement is 5+ acres for septic, and they've met that. The water district is going to require a hydraulic study and engineered plans, and I spoke with the Smithville Fire District. They will be involved in the engineering plans review if this case is passed. Staff is recommending approval with 11 conditions. And I know that's a lot of information really quick, and that is a summary of the staff report. There was additional items in the staff reports as well, and I would be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Okay, does anyone on the board have questions for the staff?
Yeah, so the shared driveways, Highway Department wouldn't give them separate access for those 2 lots? Wouldn't give them 2 additional curb cuts or access?
Yeah, I don't think with the site distance, you're asking if the 2 red ones could be
2 red ones,
split into separate?
Yeah.
I don't believe so.
Yep. Sorry.
Has anybody really looked at where lot 1 and 2 shared driveway would be? I mean, that's right around a curve and just over a hill, and can you really put a driveway there? Has anybody physically looked at that?
Yes, that's what that engineering traffic analysis studied, and they gave the site distance, and I don't know if Tom's more of an expert on that than I am, but my understanding is that it met the minimum requirements.
Yes, it did. Yeah, I had him do a study on that, and it met the requirements.
I call it Dead Man's Curve there. There's some little grottos there from people that have wrecked and died, but just wondered, just immediately north of that. But that's why I was wondering if we looked at it. But it looks good, right?
Yeah, it did, yes.
Okay.
It met the criteria.
Any other questions by members of the board?
Yeah, I have a couple questions, please. Item 3 of the exhibit items are requiring fire hydrants, and I would really be shocked if Public Water Supply District Number 9 could truly supply fire protection in that area. And I would encourage the developer, the owner, to research that in depth before he spends a boatload of money on plans and specs and survey and all that. Other question I have is item 10 on Exhibit A, homeowners association responsible for maintenance and replacement of stormwater infrastructure, including but not limited to. Problem I've seen in a lot of surrounding municipalities, including rural Clay County, is the failure of the culvert pipes. They're corrugated metal. They've got about a 20-year lifespan. That's without a lot of livestock runoff or fertilizer. And if Road and Bridge wants to include the culvert pipes as part of the responsibility of the HOA, or if they want to specify a pipe that has a longer lifespan, that could or should be addressed now.
Yeah, and our intention was to include everything that's stormwater related. We can, if approved, we can add culverts specifically to that condition. I know Tom can speak more on the types of pipes that are allowed. I know that was addressed when they updated their technical specifications, but I am not an expert on that. But we would be happy to add that as a specific item if the board chooses to.
I think if the piping or the conduits were added specifically, it's undisputable 20 years from now.
Yeah, I agree that those pipes, the entire storm drainage system should be HOA and not road and bridge. And then our technical specifications do not allow the HDPE pipe. So that was, you know, I have my opinion about that, but that was put in motion and approved before I got here. So.
And that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's odd that the county pushes off the stormwater on the HOA. I mean, why is that?
Because we don't have the, we don't have the ability to maintain all that public infrastructure. We're road and bridge, so we do the road and bridges, and stormwater is generally, price of development.
Yeah, but then it passes on to the HOA. They may not
Right.
have the expertise to really do that. Seems like the county should be taking that, because we have the expertise. And if we have to charge more taxes, we should do that. So I don't think HOAs are even gonna worry about it until they get water backed up somewhere.
And there's also a fairness issue, because a lot of the counties unincorporated and not single-family residential that have curb and sidewalk, and, to make the non-people that don't have curb and sidewalk, maintain people that have curb and sidewalk is kind of an unfair burden on them.
I noticed that, so they've got it for 2 years, they maintain. After 2 years, then we take over and maintain.
Correct.
Is there room in there for that to be changed where we don't take over after 2 years? That we can have a longer stretch in that?
They'd probably have to be platted as private streets.
I'm sorry?
They would have to be platted as private streets. I mean, there's a 2-year bonding and a letter of credit that, it's public. It's in public right of way. So technically, it's ours, but we have a letter of credit that says they'll maintain it for 2 years. And so, if you want to make it longer than 2 years, I guess that would be up to the commission and the board. But that's the general concessions right now. And really, the asphalted streets, after 2 years, they'll do everything for the first 2 years. After 2 years, we'll be plowing snow. These asphalt streets should last, road and bridge should not have to go in there for, 7, 10 years to do any kind of maybe crack sealing after a while, but there won't be a whole lot of maintenance the first 10 years of that road.
Yeah, but you yourself know that there's been roads completed, asphalt, and after 3 years, they don't look like they're going to last another 7.
That's true.
So, the standard of what's being done, that's not a teeny tiny place, it's not huge, but nevertheless, you've got so many roads to maintain today, and I think that we need to start looking at the feasibility of making that a longer period for the developers to maintain those roads. Right. And then what kind of isn't there some kind of a fee that they pay when they do this development?
Road impact.
So to your first point, the Planning and Zoning Commission or the County Commission could amend or add a condition that could require that developer's maintenance period to be longer than 2 years. So that could be changed. Your second question, there's a road impact fee charged every time a single-family home permit is issued. Currently, it is only $500 for that road impact fee. So at the development point, the developer's just responsible for putting in the infrastructure, maintaining it for 2 years, and then whoever pulls the building permit pays that road impact fee.
Now, does that 2 years start when the entire development is done, or it starts when they start building the first house?
It would start after it's platted, and then after the public infrastructure has been inspected and approved by us, then we'll take it over. That's when the 2 years start.
After it's just platted and that's all approved?
After the roads are built and
Yeah.
everything's in place and we approve it, all the signage and everything. Because I mean, it could take some time for all those lots to sell, so.
Yeah, and in the meantime, that road's getting a lot of traffic with heavy equipment and all of that too.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's gonna be, not gonna be normal use, nice cars going up and down. It's gonna be the heavy stuff, you know, that can tear up a road.
Right.
And then we pick it up.
And I agree, and I don't know what process is in place to whether they've talked about extending it longer than 2 years or not, but that's just been kind of what's been happening for the last subdivisions that have been approved. And I don't know whether, like I say, it would be a motion from this board or the commission, or who would, if the 2 years could be extended.
How would we do that, Kip? If we wanted to, everything else looks pretty good, but if we wanted to make that an extended period on that 2-year thing, what would we need to do and when would we need to do it?
And I'm looking through the conditions, just unless I'm missing it, there's not a specific condition that talks about that 2-year period. It's just in the land development code. So I think if you wanted to change that, you would just add a condition requiring that the developer maintain the infrastructure for
No.
however long you wanted.
I just think how we struggle now to keep our roads up. You do a darn good job, but nevertheless, you know, it's growing like crazy. And then we get stuck with the maintenance, and we want everybody to be happy, but we gotta think about that.
I agree.
I don't know, how does everybody else feel about it?
Yeah, I think I would look at it, I mean, I agree with you, and I wouldn't want the county to take over something that the developer just slapped up to get past the 2 years. So that begs the question, what kind of quality assurance, quality control does the county have when that's being built? I mean, I know I haven't built any roads in Clay County, but I've done them in Texas, and we always have geotechnical guys there checking density on roads, checking base, you know, and all that. It's hard to inspect that after it's done. I mean, you really can't tell what's underneath it.
Right.
So what do we do?
Well, I walked the proof roll earlier this week on subdivision. So, I mean, there's measures we go along, and there's also, KIP has an on-call engineering that does the inspections for the county.
So are they doing, like, say, density control?
They are doing testing and, yes, all of that. So since Road and Bridge changed their tech specs, we've actually increased the number of inspections, because there were some subdivisions done in the early to mid-2000s that the roads did not last very long. We've seen a lot better condition after that 2-year period, especially in the Prairie Field subdivision, which they've started using the new requirements. So yes, to give you an idea, the current phase of Prairie Field, the on-call engineer is there 2 or 3 times a week, and it costs the developer $15,000 or $20,000 just for all those inspections.
I think that's pretty typical. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're going to build a road that the county or any government's going to take over, I mean, typically, I mean, all the jobs I've been on, it's pretty stringent, you know, so. And if we do that, and it's built to our spec, then I'd feel more comfortable, you know, with it, as long as it was built right, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, and you'll see that is one of the conditions about the third-party inspector being on site and the developer being responsible for that, paying for that service.
Are you saying that you'd be more comfortable with the 2-year period without changing that?
Well, I think if your quality control is on the front end, and there's somebody out there checking, make sure they've got compaction on dirt, base rock, asphalt's going in right, then I think,
Then you'd be okay with
I mean,
keeping it 2 years? Okay.
At our July 21st special meeting that we held in this chamber with the P&Z, we touched briefly about the road impact fees and the fee structure, and I've inquired and received information from that from staff, and I've visited a little bit with KIP about putting the road impact fees, and it might be a good time to address our warranty period or the bonded period with developers at our next regular meeting. So everything we're talking about now, I think it parallels the road impact fees that need attention. It might be a good time to address all these issues at the same time at the next regular meeting.
Yeah, as I've always said, I think we take that one step further, and just like your concerns, you know, the site distances and all those things, that should be on developer to do a half roadway improvement to bring that up to, you know, standard specs so the road is safe. So if with the increased traffic, it doesn't cause more issues, and I think it's all tied into everything we're talking about here, so, yeah.
And the county has had a stated position, they don't do anything to improve the roads to help developers. And I've said, that's not realistic. You know, we can't have a bunch of really dangerous roads, blind hills, blind corners. We got a bunch of them out there in this area too.
Yes, we
You
do.
better watch when you're pulling out on certain roads, but, you know, can I bring up something about that fire protection? Is this as good a time as any, or to piggyback on something you said earlier?
Yeah, I mean, go ahead, you have the floor.
I know for a fact this is a protection class 10 area, because I'm talking to Chief Klein about residences that are north of this and they're over 5 miles from the fire station. And Smithville does not have an automatic aid agreement with Kansas City, Missouri, so even though there's a fire station a couple miles down the road here, they won't come to this location for fire. So it is protection class 10, and a lot of homeowners are gonna maybe buy in here and they're gonna figure out they're paying double for their home insurance. And then they might be clamoring for a closer new fire station so they can have cheaper home insurance, right? And they will. They do, I hear it from people, but, so I don't know, I guess that, you know, it's already a bad protection class 10 area anyway when it comes to fire protection, but, you know, you mentioned about the water lines coming down Mount Olivet Road, while the fire station wants adequate lines for fire hydrants. Can that be done? You said with the depending on what the hydraulic study says? How do they do that? Put in a pump and just boost the pressure?
Yeah, that would have to be determined with those engineering plan reviews.
Does it pay to see that plan and see if the owner's willing to do whatever that might require before we really figure this out? Or should that be figured out up front?
Yeah, why wouldn't it?
Well, the reason that generally those types of studies are not required up front is because why require those if this development doesn't make sense for the county, for the county's comp plan in this area of the county? So if they're proposing that's something that isn't going to be approved, then why require the developer to go through all those studies first?
Would that be then raised at the final plat? Those sorts of questions?
Well, they could be, but like I said, if this is approved, then unless they make changes to the final plat will be staff approval.
Okay.
So we would address any issues like that, but it wouldn't come back before this board.
But we are requiring hydrants here.
Yes, the code requires them.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
I mean, the problem most fire districts have is water. You know, they just don't have enough flow.
And distance.
Yeah.
They got a distance problem here, but
Well, they got to bring tankers if they don't have hydrants. And I'm agree with Tom Decker that I'd be surprised if a district can feed a fire hydrant. It typically has to be fed from both directions, you know,
And
get the flow.
to that point, you know, our first discussion with any property owner that is this close to city limits, we encourage them to talk to the city to see what annexation looks like. The comprehensive plan indicates that we should do that because, as you stated, generally the cities have higher level service.
Do we know what size line Water District has running? Okay, well, maybe we'll ask that the applicant, maybe.
It says it in the staff report, it's a 6-inch.
6 inch?
Yeah, and you talk about annexation, that's one of my concerns too, is, you know, once this is platted in the county and then if the city decides to annex it, every individual lot owner will have to agree to annexation versus right now it's just the developer. And I know there's been issues in the past, in other places I've been where, you know, there's one lot that holds out and then we've got shared road agreements and everything else. So, you know, I would question why they didn't want to incorporate the city of Kansas City on this development.
Are you talking about the developer, why the
Right.
developer didn't just have Kansas City annex it?
Right, exactly.
Well, I know one reason. You got Kansas City inspections for, that could be one of the problems there, so.
Well, I would rather see it stay in the county versus KCMO personally, you know. You could get a lot more density in here if it annexed in, right? So, but maybe we have some folks here that want to weigh in on that too.
Yeah, they'd probably make them extend sewers too, and real water lines. I mean, they make them put all that infrastructure. Imagine a city would, Kansas City would.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that
Kansas
yeah,
City,
could cost a lot
a
more.
lot more.
Maybe
But you're-
sewers too.
Once they get annexed, they'll have to do it anyway, but it'll be on the homeowner's dime probably at that point, which
Yeah.
I don't know if that's right, but.
Okay. The applicant, could they come forward, please? Please state your name and address.
Eric Craig, 2608 Northeast 156th Street, Smithville, Missouri.
I'm Brock Nemeth, 1907 Northeast 113th Terrace, Kansas City, Missouri, 64155.
Jack Massey, 401 Lakeview Drive, Smithville, Missouri.
Thank you. Do you have anything to present in support of your application?
In regards to the 5 bullet points you guys have, I jotted some notes down here. We believe the application satisfies all 5 rezoning criteria. The area is already transitioning from agricultural use to rural residential development, and the property directly abuts Kansas City. Compass 2040 places it in the managed growth area, and staff determined that the applicable estate residential category permits lots of 5 acres or larger. The proposal is compatible with nearby development. Agricultural and residential zoning exists on 3 sides, and the Brooks subdivision immediately north contains lots of approximately 3 to 3.51 acres. Our proposed lots are larger and provide an appropriate transition to the future.
Excuse me just a minute. Can you all hear him okay? Barely.
I'll talk louder, sorry. Our proposed lots are larger and provide an appropriate transition to the future low-density residential development anticipated by Kansas City to the south. Road and Bridge has approved the proposal. Public Water Supply District Number 9 has stated that it can serve the 21 lots subject to its hydraulic study and engineered plans. The Fire District has no objection and will participate in the hydrant and construction plan review. Public Health has approved individual septic systems subject to its design requirements and special disclosures for the identified constrained lots. And a professional engineer has also verified that every proposed access point on Mount Olivet meets the required site distance. That's it.
Just wanted to also add a couple of things in your concerns about the stability of, in regards to the stability of the roadways. We go through compaction tests and things like that, roll tests and things to make sure that the ground is firm before we do any sort of base work. So that is completed, working with our engineers and the county's engineers as well. Talked with Steve, Mr. Decker had some concerns about the water pressure there. Talked with Steve Gibson from Water District 9, and there is suitable amount of line pressure there. He sees no concern for us to have hydrants that are there as well.
Well, there's a big difference between pressure and volume.
Right, sure. So it's not going to be it's going to be a fire flow hydrant and not like like a fillable flow hydrant. Fillable flow is where a pumper truck goes out, has to hook up and fill up. We're going to have a hydrant every 600 feet, I believe, is the
95% of the fire hydrants you see in rural Clay County, Missouri, are flush hydrants that look like a fire hydrant.
Correct, sir.
They do not offer fire protection.
Correct.
And I hate to see you spend $1 zillion and then in the 11th hour get knocked out by, you cannot have fire protection.
I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
That was a question that I asked him specifically.
Yes,
so
sir.
Thank you. We're here to answer any other questions you guys may have.
I have a quick question. What kind of an impact will the water use and all of that have on the surrounding people, the other subdivisions, or even, you know, just rural homes that are in the area?
Sure. So how the process works is our engineers will lay out a plan and provide that to Water District 9, and then their engineers will review that and make sure that there's adequate water pressure and things like that, that it can be serviced. And that is something that we have the engineers work out, and then we provide that information back to the county for their approval.
Are there any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll open it up to the public. Is there anyone present who would like to speak in favor of the application? Yes, please state your name and address.
Kerry Welk, north the Brooks. I'm in the subdivision just 12809, the Brooks, in the Brooks subdivision. You guys are asking all the right questions. I mean, especially you, Joanne. Those 4 driveways on Mount Olivet, Sherman Road, that's a dangerous stretch of road right there. And people drive a lot faster than they should on that road. In the Brooks, we only have 2 entrances, only one off of Mount Olivet Road and the church there at 132nd, I believe. And we have had a death right there at the place where you talked about Dead Man's Curve. There's a creek right there below the Painters, and there have been several accidents there. People drive too fast, but it's just before you get to that very first driveway with the red. If you don't have any kind of turnouts or anything, there's nowhere for a car to go there. The shoulders are deep, and there's no, the ditches are deep, and there's no shoulder there. I'm also concerned about the water quality because Polecat Creek runs right along that property line. It eventually goes into downtown Smithville, I believe, and crosses 291. So if you have no sewer system, then you run the risk of people that don't maintain their septics. And I know that's becoming a problem in rural Clay County because we've had so much development, but our developers don't develop the infrastructure. And that becomes a big problem because then the county is responsible for coming back and cleaning up the mess, and the developers move on. We just now got a turnout lane on 291 coming onto Mount Olivet Road. I've been there 40 years. The state passed the buck, the city passed the buck, it's in the county, but we got a light and a turnout lane 40 years later, and when we came here today, the traffic is backed up to 435 for a half a mile. So we've got a lot of development going on, and I want the Petties to be able to develop this land. I just want it to be done right so that the county doesn't end up spending a lot of money and the developers get away with doing the very least. I heard this statement about, well, it passes zoning. That's not the best way to go about things. I had a friend who worked in Kansas City, and that's what he told me when I complained about the intersection at 291 and Sherman Road, Mount Olivet Road, that, it passes code. Well, just passing code shouldn't be the way we do things. We should do it the best we can at the time so that the city, the state, or the county doesn't have to come back and do it again and tear up the lines. And 291, or not 291, but 92 is a perfect example of that. I can see that we're going to have to tear that up again between Smithville because we're having so much growth. So if you don't put in turnout lanes or some infrastructure, because later the growth is going to be greater and it's all going to have to be done again. And the developer gets to walk away from it. He makes his money. Yeah, we get growth, but then we have to pay for it later. So, there's safety involved here. There's water quality involved here. But at the same time, I think it can be done if you hold the developer to account and we make sure that it's done right. Thank you.
Okay, that actually was not in favor. I assume.
Well, I'm in favor of development. I'm in favor of the development. I just think if we do it right, there's nothing wrong with good development. If you just say, here's the parameters, we want to give you this development, but here's the parameters to do it right, not just to do it the cheapest that we can, and then we'll deal with it later. And you guys are in charge of saying this is what we'll require, and so let's do it right. And if you drive on 291, you mentioned cyclists too. That's one of the things, it's not as bad as it used to be, but there's lots of lake traffic up and down that road. And Sherman and Mount Olivet is a cut through, it's a shortcut. And when we had work on 291, we had tremendous traffic going back and forth there. And we had that little one-lane bridge that was right there along that stretch of road. And they did redo it, but I've noticed it's already starting to settle. So, you know, with somebody mentioned big trucks, heavier equipment, it's gonna break down over time and a lot quicker than what it would have otherwise. But I mean, I just hope that we do, when we do it, if we do it, that we do it right. That's what I think. Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone else who would like to speak in favor of the applicant? Okay, is there anyone else who would like to speak against?
Don't do me, I'm not really against it. I'm like Carrie. I agree with what he said, done responsibly.
Get your
My
name.
name is Robin Painter. My husband and I live on the north side of the end. Our property borders the northern end of this project. Okay.
And the address, please?
Oh, I'm so sorry. 12802 Northeast Mount Olivet Road, Kansas City, Missouri, which is really unincorporated Clay County.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, sorry. I'm a little nervous. Okay, before I want to tell you what I really want to ask, I did have a question, and I don't know if this is appropriate, when it talked about the infrastructure. I know this is going to be done in 2 phases. Is there really any infrastructure that's going to go into phase 1? Or is that all, whoever buys the lot, they're responsible for that infrastructure? Is that a question?
Yeah, so phase 1 are the lots off of Mount Olivet, so all the infrastructure will be part of phase 2.
Okay, so in other words, as people buy where they're the red and green driveways, there's no infrastructure. Those people are responsible for putting in their own entrance off of Mount Olivet.
Well, every person that buys a lot within this subdivision, if it's approved, will be responsible for putting in their own driveway.
Okay.
So the developer's responsible for putting in the streets, the water, the electric, all the.
So basically, the infrastructure for phase 1 is Mount Olivet Road.
Yes, that's how
Okay.
they're getting access, yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. And then also, on the fire hydrants, are there fire hydrants that will go with phase 1, which is lots, is it 1 through 5 or 1 through 6?
1 through 6 are part of phase 1.
Okay.
And no, there will not be hydrants as part of phase 1.
Okay, right along there, okay. All right, and why I'm really here is I want to know where I'm concerned about my property line, okay? Right now, I came home one day and there were survey stakes in my yard, what I perceive as my yard. And I've always been led to believe that the fence, Mr. Petty's fence, Petty Farm fence, sorry, that's basically our boundary, okay? That's our property line. And these stakes were way in front of it. And then, I don't know, a week, 2 weeks, I don't know the timeline, the stakes moved. And it moved over to where the fence was. And so right now, there is a survey stake right by that fence line, which is what we've always perceived to be our property line. And I want to know, are those stakes actual surveyed marks for those lots? Does that make sense what I'm asking? There are stakes out. What? They're wood stakes with a pink ribbon. Okay, is that the property?
I don't think anybody here can answer
I
that.
mean, it could be temporary control points, it could be a number of things. It could be underground, yeah.
So how
there's
do
no
I
good-
find out for sure?
You'd probably need to contact the developer's surveyor.
Okay,
Or contact your own surveyor.
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
Probably better way of going. Yeah.
okay. All right,
Yeah, have a
Yeah.
survey done, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you had a question
I'm
about
on
this,
it.
Yeah, property locates.
I'm on it, but I just wanted to, it caused me great anxiety. And so I just thought, okay, if I could come and find that, I could maybe get a little piece. I am not against the development, you know. I believe it's their land to develop, but you just like responsible. And having seen many people die right in front of my house, right there where those red and green lines are, that's a concern, but I don't make those decisions. So, thank you very
Okay,
much.
thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Yes.
My name is William Becker. I live at 600 Indian Trail Court in Smithville, Missouri. I'm representing the Becker property, which adjoins the Petty proposed addition. We're on the west of that property. We have the adjoining property to the west. My only concern, I don't have an objection to the development of the property. I've been really good friends with the Pettys, gosh, for my whole life. But Lot 1, if you look at Lot 1, there is a 16-foot roadway easement that comes off of Mount Olivet, and it egresses all the way through the property. It cuts completely across Lot 1, then follows the southern border of it where it adjoins to our property. And in conjunction with that, the concern I have is that if Lot 1 sells separately, that we'll run into all kinds of issues with someone wanting to utilize that roadway as a private driveway or parking on it, or even though it's very clearly spelled out in the easement, which was established in 1966, that it is to be used expressly as a roadway to egress the property that it connects to, which is the Becker property. So that's the concern I have. If you can take note, you can see the line on the plat up there. The line clearly shows where the easement is currently at. And I just want to be sure that that's addressed. If that lot needed to be incorporated, 1 and 2 needed to be incorporated, where that lot could not be built on or something, because all of the property to the north of that easement is really woods. It actually adjoins the brook and adjoins my neighbors over here that joins their property, that they have the concern with the boundary. So that's my reason for being here, is to address that on behalf of our property. That's really the only access that we have to that particular section of the property, because of the egress from the other direction and the creek that runs through there, Wilkerson Creek that runs down through there. Thank you.
I mean, is that landlocked? No other road in or out of there other than this easement he's talking about?
Without a tremendous amount of effort from the north, it's virtually inaccessible without that. We can get a tractor down there certain times of the year, but because of the way it's laid out, that's the reason that was there. There actually was a house there for many years, and there's a property there where there was a house that that's where it originally was laid out to get access to that.
So if you see the RU80 kind of north of the subject property, that's where the Becker property has access?
Is that the Brooks or?
Right next to the Brooks, just west of the Brooks.
Just west of the Brooks.
Where it says RU80, that they connect to a road up there.
It's right on the property
I
line.
guess that'd be 132nd Street maybe? Is that the road?
No.
Not.
It shows up on the survey, but How many times a year do you use that existing 16-foot wide easement to ingress or egress your
Well, at the
property owner?
current, we have not, but we do have plans. My daughter and son-in-law recently built a house on the property, on a different part of the property. We have 148 acres there. And they have plans to utilize some different plans in the property and around the property for some recreation, camping facilities. We're not really sure exactly, but that's an important access point for us to be able to get in and out of there.
So you don't access from the north, that cul-de-sac just to the north of you, if I'm looking at the right piece of property?
We can access a different portion of it, the upper portion, but this connects to the lower portion of that same 40
That
acres.
creek cuts you off?
Yeah, there's 40 acres there, and actually the creek cuts it off back there.
Okay, I see what you're talking about.
We might save that for a question for the developer to come back up and answer before this meeting, before the application's closed.
Okay.
Fair enough?
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's what I'm
That's
looking
the
at.
access.
Yeah, turn on your, I'm on the GIS here. Here's the property they're talking about. His access is through a road. It could be under the plat.
Well, it's a little bit different.
This road right here. Goes through.
Right there.
Yeah. And then-
Okay.
But the problem is, he needs that road, to get that creek, cuts his property. So he accesses from the north, he needs that to get to the south side. I think that's what he's looking at.
Although that creek, he may have a creek here he's talking about, he just can't get to that side.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah. Okay. Are there any other questions, comments from the public?
Terry Welk, 12809 Lynn Court, Kansas City, Missouri. I have a couple of questions. I don't know if it's opposing or in favor of. I would like to say that it's good to see that the lot sizes are larger versus what's down at the end of Sherman, butting up to Cookingham Road. So that was a good thing. But I do have a couple of questions. Are we able to see what I think you call them the conditions? Like 11 conditions, is that public knowledge? Can we see what those are?
The conditions?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's
It's on the county website. If
Okay.
you go to agendas, all our public meetings are noticed, and the whole packet will be part of that.
Okay. And then secondly, I don't know at what point it's decided what type of streetlights are put into this area? Is that up to the developer?
none.
So Chairman, if you don't mind, so the county code only touches on streetlights, saying that they shall be directed downward. Other than that, we don't regulate what they do. I honestly don't know if the developer's even planning on streetlights.
Okay, because I mean, there's just so much light pollution and, living there for over 40 years, it's nice to see what we moved out there for, to still see the dark sky, but, the more lights that come out there, and of course, we've got the data centers just across the way also, so just wondered about that, who makes those decisions? So I think what you're telling me is it's the developer, but the code in the county is that they need to be downward facing? Is that correct? Okay. That's it, thank you.
Any other comments from the public? Yes.
Yes, my name is Bill Wolf. I live at 12916 Jamie Drive in the Brooks subdivision. I have a couple questions. You made mention of 130-some acres in this development. What's behind it? There's 140 acres behind it. Are there any plans on that as far as development goes? Or is that totally landlocked now? Or will any developments on the west side of that come through this subdivision, this proposed subdivision to Mount Olivet and Sherman Road? The reason I ask is there's a lot of traffic there. And honestly, I've lived out there 40 years. I see the signs come up and everything, but I've never been too much involved in what's going on out there. But there's so much traffic right now from 291 all the way up through to 92. That's the only main road through there. Everything else cuts or jogs, rolls around some other way. And that's my concern, is the traffic and warning signs, because they did some work on the road east of us there, and it increased the traffic on Mount Olivet, Sherman by 100% easy because of that work over on Eastern. And with the development going on north of us, there's other tracks opening up, and this is going to be a thoroughfare, more so than what it is right now. And like has been mentioned in the other residents here, there has been accidents up there. My wife was involved in an accident because of ice. I was involved in an accident because of ice. My daughter was involved in an accident because of lackadaisical driving, I think. I'm not sure. But fortunately, we haven't been injured or anything. And that's probably one of the main concerns I have on that narrow road. Like I mentioned before, there's no shoulders. You go off the road, and the asphalt has been built up so much, you're looking at 6 to 8 inches drop off there into the ditch. And so mainly that's my main concern is speed conditions, road signs, additional traffic, and what other access is going to be brought out to Mount Olivet and Sherman Road.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm not against the project or for or anything, I'm just more interested in the infrastructure and what's going to happen than anything else.
Okay. Any other comments? Yes. Pardon me? Yes, I was going to ask if the developer representative wants to respond to any of these things.
Sure. Thank you all for being here tonight. I want to just stress that I'm always available to ever answer any questions that you may have if this project passes.
Need your name and address, please, sir.
I'm sorry. Eric Craig, 2608 Northeast 156th Street, Smithville, Missouri.
Thank you.
First, sir, to answer your question, right now, currently with 140 acres that is in Kansas City, there are no plans. The family is going to continue to farm it. In regards to the question about Kansas City's interest in this, we did have 3 extensive meetings with Kansas City and all their representatives. And a lot of it came down to they just don't have the resources. They also don't have any interest in that location right now. That could be to change at whatever point in time that they decide and shift directions. The other part of it, to be honest with you, the family, they have a desire to leave this property in Clay County. If they had their wish, this whole property would stay and be in Clay County unincorporated. To them, this farm has special meaning to them. They are not interested in having a high-density development come into this area. And so this was, after multiple meetings with them, they felt was in the best interest of preserving their father's legacy. Secondly, in regards to streetlights, we are going to utilize Platte Clay Electric. That's who's going to be servicing the power through this development. And we work directly with their engineers and provide the lighting. We get the lighting from them and they install it. If you're interested in looking at the lighting, I was a developer of Monterey, which is just to the north of you guys, just north of 132nd Street, and the lighting we plan on using is there. So, and then also to just address some concerns about quality, we utilize local engineers. We pride ourselves in our relationships that we have with our engineers and our contractors that are going to be doing this work. The other big part of this is that as a business person and also a member of the Smithville community, Clay County, I have a business and a reputation. And if anybody's interested in looking at what I've done in other areas, you can look at Estates at the Ranch, which is off 144th in Mount Olivet, and also Monterey as well, which is off of Mount Olivet as well. So this is a low-density subdivision that, in my opinion, complements that area. and something that we're going to be proud of. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question for you, please, Mr. Craig. Can you address the existing ingress egress easement on lot
I'm sorry,
one
Bill.
that's-
I left
that's
Bill,
headed
Valerie, I left you guys out. I'm sorry about that.
East to the Becker property,
Yes, sir. Sorry about that.
or west? am I right?
Actually spoke with Bill a couple weeks ago. We are aware of this easement. We're aware of the agreement between the Pettys and the Beckers. And any prospective buyers that we discuss are going to be very well aware of that easement. They're going to be notified as well. There is enough room based off of our engineers and architects and surveyors that say that if a home could be built there, it might be challenging. But we also looking at it that somebody might have be purchasing lot 2 and have a family member and want a family member in close proximity to them as well. And so the other option is it's always for sale, Bill and Valerie. If you're interested, we can talk about that privately. So.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is that a legal easement written in the
Yes.
legal
it's-
description of the property?
Yes,
I'd
it is.
say it exists, whether lot 1 owners like it or not then. right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it surveyed out exactly where the easement is, or is it just kind of a passway right to pass through there? A little vague. I've seen them
Yeah,
vague.
yeah. The surveying was pretty extensive on this, and ma'am, I don't know where she's at. It was right there. Happy to connect you with our surveyor to explain that. He's not here to explain that to you tonight, but I'm happy to connect you with him. They could be marking, just trying to get their coordinates to make sure they're in the right location, so it's hard to say. I can't speak to that. But when they are finished, it will be marked, and there'll be a description written on the stake itself. Okay? That will describe what they're trying to coordinate off of when they're doing their boundary survey.
You know, the only thing I'd like to see, this is all a little bit vague, but, you know, his property is split here. And right now, no big deal. But down the road, when something happens with this easement, then that piece is landlocked. How does he get in, and, you know, all of those kinds of things. I'd like to see something in writing, you know, that makes him comfortable, that he knows he can always access that land, whatever it takes for him to get that done.
Sure, I'm happy to answer that for you. So this is a recorded easement that's on title. So any prospective buyer, anyone does a title search, they're purchasing this property, they're going to receive a title commitment at that time. The seller has to also disclose any easements as well. It's a requirement. So the prospective buyer is going to be very aware of this, and that easement can never be vacated unless the Beckers and the Pettys were to agree to vacate that.
Yeah, but you never know.
Correct.
That's something. You know, the biggest thing I see here is road maintenance worries me because of all the phone calls I get from citizens. The biggest complaint are roads and bridges. You know, there are just no two ways around it. And so you think about 21 homes. That doesn't sound bad, coming out onto that road. But then you know and I know that in our house, there's only my husband and me. We've got 3 vehicles. So you take a couple, they're going to have 2 cars at least. And then how many of these homes are going to have young people in them, maybe teenagers, even if it's just 10 more? That's, you know, 50 some, maybe 60 cars using that road that don't do it today. So, you know, that's something, Mr. Tom, that you're going to have to really be aware of. So when they're calling me and screaming, you know where I'm going to go. So, you know, you worry about that, and you worry about the citizens and the folks that live there now that have to access that. It's going to put so much of a strain on them, traffic getting in and out, and, you know, so I think that, you know, road maintenance, degradation of utilities, we hope that won't happen, and I'm sure you're planning for it not to, but it could, you know, so all of those things, I don't feel comfortable that they've all been, all those questions have been answered for me, and I don't know about the people that live there, if they now. I guess I want to let this county grow, and this is in a perfect place to do it as far as close to a city and all of those kinds of things. But you want to protect the quality of life for the existing people as well. And then once this is completed, you want these people to have safety, utilities, all the things that they need to make their life comfortable. I just would like, I guess, more assurances or something. I don't feel real comfortable with it at this point, myself.
Well, to respond, if it's okay, that's where we heavily rely on our engineers that we're working with to make sure that we are, at a minimum, meeting the expectation that you guys as a county have set forth. And then from there, it's our responsibility to make sure that our engineers are communicating with yours. We're having tests, they're inspected. This isn't something that goes left it's inspected throughout the entire process.
Yeah.
And that's something that I also, not comfortable saying who I use, but it's a excavator who is highly known and reputable in the area. We use good local people that live in this area that care as well.
Right.
And I would just invite you to drive by, the other projects. Larry knows where they're at. He's across the street. So if you would like to drive through, and I think the states at the ranch is at 7 years. Monterey is just a little over a year now, so. Thank you.
I have one more. So I'm looking at your preliminary plat. So there's a 50-foot right-of-way to be dedicated along Mount Olivet. Am I reading that right?
When I put my readers on, I'm sorry.
It's like right there between lot 7 and lot 5 is where I'm seeing the note.
Yeah, I think that Kip's that.
That sounds right to me.
Is that from Centerline of Mount Olivet? I guess where I'm going with this
Yes.
is, I mean, the county's kind of behind the curve, in my opinion. I mean, Mount Olivet probably should have been improved a while back. And I'd like to see developers do that development, but at the very least, I'd want to see at least enough right-of-way that if that Mount Olivet had to be expanded to carry more traffic, that we would at least have the right-of-way to be able to do that without having to go back through and acquire right-of-way. So that 50-foot right-of-way, I'm circling back to where I started, is that 50-foot right-of-way, is that from Centerline of Mount Olivet? Is that?
Yeah, the right-of-way would be from Centerline.
From Centerline.
And I would rely on Tom if that's enough.
Well, I'm looking at the note right now, and I zoomed in. It says 30 feet right of way to be dedicated. So
I was gonna say
that
30.
would be,
I need to put my
and
glasses on too.
that would be an additional 30 feet.
Right.
So right now, if there's 60 out there, this would be an additional 30 feet on the one side, which could accommodate another line.
So you think, so
Yeah, I got it
they're showing
zoomed in.
22 foot of asphalt?
Right?
Is that, see where it says 20 foot of asphalt?
Yes.
That arrow, is that from Centerline to shoulder? Is that full roadway?
The notes are kind of confusing, but the fact that it says 30 feet to be dedicated, to me, means additional to what's out there today.
Okay. I'd like to see that.
But the arrows don't corroborate that, so that's
Okay, that's
something needs to be cleaned
what
up.
was confusing me too, so.
Yep.
So just to make sure, the concern would be, is there enough right-of-way in the future to expand Mount Olivet?
Yeah, so
Okay,
the
so
county doesn't have to acquire more.
P&Z staff will work with Road and Bridge staff to make sure that that is the case, and if we need to change that for the final plat, if this gets approved, then we will.
Okay. Assume the developer would be okay with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right, any other questions for the developer? Okay.
Chairman, can I add one thing?
Yes.
So on the, Andy found the section of code for the maintenance guarantee, so that's the 2-year developer's maintenance guarantee for the roads, basically. And the LDC is very specific that the highway administrator is the only one that can extend that 2-year period. and it can only be extended for a year. So it can be no more than 3 years, but Mr. Degenhart is the one that has the discretion to go from 2 to 3 years.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
No pressure.
And technically, I'm not the highway administrator, that's old language, so anyway.
Well, yeah, you can designate somebody as the
Yes.
administrator.
But I would, if that was the case, I would do that on the direction of either this commission or the county commission, so. I would need some recommendations on that.
Do we want to?
Sure, put that monkey on my back.
Do we want to add any condition for that purpose?
I would like to see, oh, I'm sorry.
You don't have the
There's a lady
authority to
out
do
there
that.
wants to speak.
I think public comment's already closed on it, but the other thing is you don't have discretion to change the term on the guarantee. That's baked into the LDC already. It's 2 years, highway can extend it a third year for good cause shown. That's it.
But could we,
But he said he wanted
Well,
direction.
I guess I was, maybe not official. Go ahead.
You've got the authority to do it for good cause shown, which would probably be something like there's already some deterioration showing, so we want to add another year to it or something. But I don't think you can do something now that says that in 2 years you can do the third year
So
for
it's
any
a
reason.
It'd be a 2-year, and then during that 2-year period, if I saw something that caused additional warranty, I could extend it another year. Is that?
Yeah, and it doesn't take, it's an administrative action versus a board level.
Gotcha.
Okay.
wait, let me clarify that for me. I wasn't sure I heard everything that you said, but, so if it's set for 2 years right now on this subdivision, this cannot be changed on the, once everything's approved and they go forward, then even if he decides to change that up to 3, 4 years, whatever, this will remain like grandfathered, right? At 2, or it could be changed.
No, it's, in the code, every subdivision, the guarantee can only be 2 years. It can be extended 1 more year by the highway administrator. So if the county commission ever wanted to make that longer, then that would take a change in the code versus,
okay.
not on a case-by-case basis.
Okay. Can do that.
Okay. All right then.
We should do that.
We have 2 motions that we need for this case. The first one is the request for rezoning from agricultural district to residential ranchette, R-5 district with an agricultural land preservation overlay district. Do I have a motion regarding this this issue?
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to approve the rezoning for the Petty Farm as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Could I roll call, please?
Tom Decker,
Yes.
Mark Beggs,
Yes.
Larry Yateman,
Yes.
Joanne Lawson,
With reservations, yes.
David Rotis,
Yes.
Tom Degenhart,
Yes.
and Chairman Randall Morris.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Now we need a motion for the preliminary plat approval for the proposed subdivision Petty Farm with the conditions laid out in Exhibit A.
So, Mr. Chairman.
Conditions, what?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What did you say with the condition,
With
what?
with the conditions laid out in Exhibit A, the 11 conditions.
So I just, I had a question
Yeah,
about
okay,
11B. So it directly relates to that easement that we were talking about along Mount Olivet. It says add a 15-foot recreational easement with a 30-foot utility easement along Mount Olivet. And Director Jones was talking about that? Are we talking about making that bigger? Or, I mean, because once we approve this, I assume it's done.
So the conditions can change for the final plat, and they probably will.
Okay.
But the 15-foot, I guess I'm not sure your question,
It
because
said, well, I just want to make sure that it says 11B says add a 15-foot recreational easement within the 30-foot utility easement along Mount Olivet Road. So I
Correct.
assume that would include our right, is that outside of our right-of-way?
That's outside of
Outside
the
right-of-way.
outside
Okay.
of the right-of-way. So when the right-of-way ends, the property starts, there's a 30-foot utility easement. Within that will be the 15 feet, and then there's also a 50-foot build line.
Okay, okay.
Okay. So can I get a motion regarding the preliminary plat, proposed subdivision Petty Farms with the conditions laid out in Exhibit A?
You bet. I'll make a motion to approve the preliminary plat of Petty Farm with the 11 conditions attached as displayed in Exhibit A.
Can I get a second, please? I think we got one. Roll call, please.
Tom Decker,
Yes.
Mark Beggs,
Yes.
Larry Yateman,
Yes.
Joanne Lawson,
Yes.
David Rotis,
Yes.
Tom Degenhart,
Yes.
and Chairman Randall Morse.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. We'll go on to the third case, case number PZ 26-117. This is a request for rezoning from agricultural district to residential rural R-1 district with an agricultural land preservation overlay district for only Lot 1 and preliminary and final plat approval for proposed subdivision, Clear Creek Reserve, located at approximately 14621 Northeast 188th Street. The applicant is Preston Owen, Show Me Farms LLC. Could I get a staff report, please?
Yes, Chairman, would like to add the staff report as part of the official record.
So be it.
Okay, so this is Clear Creek Reserve. It's off 188th Street. It's zoned agricultural, approximately 64 acres. You can see the floodplain in blue. The property is outlined in yellow there. The proposal is to split that 64 acres into 3 lots. The Lot 1, which is the north lot, would have all the road frontage, approximately 10 acres. Lot 2 would be 20-plus acres. Lot 3, greater than 30. There would be an access easement through Lot 1 to serve Lot 2, and then the easement continues from Lot 2 to 3. We would require that there be a recorded agreement with that easement. This area is in the estate residential area of the comprehensive plan. That is a 5-acre minimum area. However, I will note that as you see that circle jump in there, this is right on the edge of the transition zone. So this area goes from 5 to transitions to the 20-acre area to the north. So on the north side of 188th, it's the transition zone. On the south side, it's the 5-acre area. So staff feels this meets, the lot sizes currently in that area, plus the lot sizes that the comprehensive plan is calling for. It has the same 5 rezoning criteria that we talked about with all our cases. Here is the subject parcel. You can see there's a lot of residential to the east, and there still is some ag in this area. And I'll maybe try this again, because if you remember, I don't know, it was probably a year or 2 ago, Maloney Meadow off of Nation Road came in front of this board. This property was actually part of Maloney Meadow, but they left it as unplatted farmland, and now they're coming back to split it into 3 lots. So just wanted to point that out. And then this one we have not received any opposition to. We sent 27 letters. All the outside agencies have given their approvals. And this is a rezoning preliminary and final because it has not been platted before. Staff believes the final is compliant with the preliminary. And there again, you can see the proposed lots, but staff is recommending approval, and a representative for the applicant is present as well.
Okay, are there any questions for Mr. Jones?
I do. So this access easement, I'm not a fan of that.
Neither am I.
That's, I can see that's gonna be problematic. Lot 1 doesn't maintain his. Lot's gonna stick Lot 2 and Lot 3, driving through who knows what.
Yep,
I don't know, that's,
absolutely.
I don't know, I don't know that I have a real question, I just have a major concern. Because that doesn't look like it's improved, it's just an easement.
Yeah.
It is an easement. We will require that there be a recorded agreement that says who maintains it, things like that. But if they don't hold up to that agreement, yes, it's an issue. I'm not a big fan of the county code allowing that, but to me, it does not violate the code, and it is currently allowed. That's probably something the board should look at when we revise the land development code as to whether we want to keep that in there. But if the lots are 20-plus acres, staff believes that the code does allow it to be served by an access easement.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
I feel as you do. I think that's a bad way to go on something like that because, you know, you've known people, I've known people who share a driveway and there's always problems that they don't maintain. One person doesn't maintain and the other person suffers, you know, lives further back. So I think that I wouldn't be a fan of doing this at all.
I think I agree with you, but my other concern is if the code allows it, and we're going to back the county against the wall, I don't know if they have a defensible position if we would deny it on that basis.
If we deny it, what?
If we deny this because of that access easement and it's allowed by code, we could end up in court. And I don't know that, I'm not an attorney, but it seems like we wouldn't have a leg to stand on.
I don't think we can deny it if it is
Based on that.
if it's in keeping with the code, then I think we have an obligation to approve it.
But I agree with you, I don't like it at all.
And
I don't.
perhaps we should try to change the
that
code.
So I hear a consensus that this may be an issue. So when we bring the road impact fee discussion to the board, we will bring the shared access discussion in front of the board.
Yeah, I think that'd be great.
At the same time, the people who buy these lots will, they will be buying it understanding that there are these shared agreements. And it's really upon them to make that decision and live with the consequences of it.
Yeah.
And I
It'd
know
be
it can
nice if
difficult.
there could be something within that agreement that would say, this will be done, you know.
Well, there
not-
will be a shared one. I have a shared agreement. I subdivided my acreage and have a shared agreement with the person who bought the 16 acres. And we have a shared driveway agreement that we have to jointly maintain a certain portion of it, but it was required that we have this shared driveway agreement.
Yeah, but you're a nice guy.
No,
You
no.
know? No, I mean,
No, I was
really
told.
and truly.
I was
You
told-
obviously don't know Randall very well.
I was told I needed to have it. I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't optional.
Yeah.
So yes, it will be there. It will, you know, it will be required. It will be in writing prior to people purchasing the properties.
And I understand what you're saying, but I still think it can be problematic.
Oh, it can be problematic.
Somebody doesn't have money,
Yeah.
you know, and that becomes a problem for
And
everybody.
the person at lot 1 gets 3 times the traffic that the person of lot 3 gets, because everybody's driving over that portion of it. So how you would make the agreement in terms of sharing the costs of that, you know, it can't be just, you know, a third, a third, and a third. It wouldn't be quite fair.
Okay, so.
Actually
so-
don't. It just, I've had a driveway like that, and it just falls on me and my brother. We just maintain the whole thing. Because otherwise it's just not gonna get done, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you do if they do this, you know, and say 2 years down the road, all hell breaks loose because it's not getting maintained, we do not have a dog in the fight, correct? That's their baby to worry about.
Yeah, question for council, but yeah, I don't think we do. It's a civil.
Okay, so say that they do, everything goes through, that's fine and dandy. House goes on 2, house goes on 4. 2 years down the road, the driveway goes to hell. And there's all kinds of contention between the 3 people. We do not have a dog in the fight, correct?
That would be a dispute between private property owners, and they'd have to figure that out themselves.
It's their baby.
Yeah, and that's why P&Z is recommending the condition that there be a signed agreement. So there's going to be a contract there between the homeowners that they're going to have to enforce.
And I think the applicant has some additional information on that as well.
Do what?
I think the applicant has some additional information that he can provide.
So shall we hear from the applicant now?
Yeah, let's hear from the applicant.
Thank you, guys. And they're absolutely valid. My name is Derek Payne. I live at 28401 Northeast 177th Street in Lawson on the east side of Watkins Mill. So I'm still just barely in Clay County. But I'm here representing Clear Creek Reserve today. Just one thing I wanted to jump on immediately was, and at some point I assume you could be provided this if you guys want to take a look at it as well. From my understanding, this was sent in. Did Preston send a copy to you?
Honestly, I don't know. I'd have to look back.
It should have been sent to planning and zoning as part of this application, from my understanding, just as Preston, the developer, did on Maloney Meadow. Will you jump to that slide that showed Maloney Meadow with the X through it, which was the other subdivision? Because this farm was a giant L shape, and it went over to Nation Road. Okay, so you see on Nation Road, you see the 3 yellow lots, each one of those exactly 10 acres. If you look on the very northern parcel of those 3, you will notice that there is a driveway you can see that goes east and west along the south boundary of that north piece. It heads onto the right-hand side of the X, and then it leads even further 1,800 feet back to the next parcel. So where the M is on Maloney Meadow, that ditch that runs at an angle was the property line split between 2 27-acre parcels, a 27.14 and a 27.15. You all approved, or the commission approved, that split with that shared, or that private driveway that went all the way back there. And whenever we did this, it came all the way through 1, it actually touched the top of 2, went back up onto 1, and then came onto 4, and then went back all the way to 5. And then we were asked to take that private driveway along the north boundary all the way to the west side. So with that being said, that had a shared use agreement in place that dictated which one was the lead parcel to be in charge of maintenance and saying, hey, we need a load of gravel, we need this, we need that. Because otherwise, if you don't have that, it would be a mess, because nobody would know who's in charge. So in this one, the southern one, which is 31.71 acres on this new split, the southern one is the one that's going to utilize the most of the driveway. So that is the parcel that is the lead tract. This 6-page shared use agreement is almost identical to the shared use agreement, except for the minor changes to make it represent the new property split. This is the same one from the Maloney Meadow split that was approved through here. So it does have legal jargon in there for if somebody was to default on this and not pay their portion. The shared use agreement also dictates exactly how much percentage of ownership each one of those 3 parcels has. So that was the big thing, and me as the one that has to sell these, that's how lot 1, they understand that yes, there's going to be a lot of traffic through there, but lot 1 has very little interest in the maintenance of it because of that. Also, I want you guys to know that this driveway, the way it currently comes in, is off the main entrance that's already there. It's a really nice entrance, comes in and immediately loops east, almost hits the east boundary, and comes straight south all the way to where 2 and 3 hit, and then it comes up the side of a hill, but that's on 3s. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't, and I wouldn't want it to, it does not come through the middle of the property. It does come onto the property and then immediately go over to the east boundary and just head straight south. So that's a little bit on it, but also I just wanted you guys to know that this is the exact same shared use agreement that we utilized and got approved on the Maloney Meadows split. We're using it now for Clear Creek Reserve here. Also, you know, the point wasn't to necessarily split these super small. I mean, our idea was, I mean, it's 3 really pretty parcels that are of size. They're of like kind that is around the property. And it is only 3 parcels, not 5, like a lot of the other ones that I've been a part of in this office here. So with that being said, there is a little bit of floodplain along Clear Creek. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. It's never going to leave, but I was told that when basically FEMA redid their maps a few years ago, anywhere you've got a creek, there's going to be floodplain. From my knowledge, that side of Clear Creek has never flooded all the way down through there, but it is still there. And any buyers that look at any of those properties are notified of that. And I will make sure that they have a copy of the survey and the plat, and it also shows the FEMA floodplain on that as well. So that way, when we look at a property, they know exactly where they can and can't build or should and shouldn't build. With that being said, do you guys have any questions for me? There's a lot that could be talked about on it, but I just want to make sure I answer any of your all's questions or concerns that you guys have. Go ahead.
Thank you for being here. Okay, so you're trying to rezone lot 1 right now from ag to residential R1, but lots 2 and 3 are to remain zoned agriculture. What's the logic in that? Are you just want to keep farming it, or do you think you'll come back later and want to rezone those 2 lots?
From my understanding, the main reason we have done it, because anything under 20 acres and under, it has to be zoned residential.
Okay.
And the other thing is and I'll just be honest, from the real estate side of things, most buyers want a little bit less restrictions on them. So therefore, a lot of them, whenever they come to look at a property, they're more comfortable with it being zoned ag. They know that in Clay County, they still have to abide by the ag zoning rules. But as someone who's going to go through and split something, my guess is that Preston, the developer here, doesn't want to impose additional regulations on a parcel he's trying to sell if he doesn't need to per code, basically by choosing to go to residential versus ag. So if it can stay ag, he would much rather it be ag, but on lot 1, we had no choice but to go to residential because of its size. So there's just less restrictions. It's a little bit more appealing to people, and that was the main reason,
So basically, somebody would buy lot 2, it'll be up to them to come and rezone it if they want to put a house on it, right?
No, you're allowed, even on ag zoning, you can build a home.
Okay, all right.
Yep. Sorry, I didn't know that. I didn't know whether you knew that or not. So, but yeah. So either way, I mean, they can build a house on all of these with the zoning that if we approve this, they can build a house on all of them. The only difference is 2 and 3 is just going to have a little bit less county restriction. Basically, is what it will be. Okay. Versus if it were zoned residential. So with that being said, to answer the question, most landowners that are going to come in and split something wouldn't automatically impose additional regulations on themselves if they don't need to. So.
Nice. Thank you.
That's right.
Yep.
Any other questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you.
I guess one last thing. The developer did go ahead and put like 15 truckloads of 3-inch base rock on that, almost 2,000 feet back and up onto the hilltop on 3. So he made sure that before doing this, that he wasn't just immediately dumping something on somebody else and all of a sudden the driveway starts off, already in shambles. We've got the appropriate rock in place to start that driveway into a good base rock. So, and then the thought is, and what happened on the other one on Maloney Meadow when we split it, that gets beat up obviously during construction of the houses on 1, 2, and 3, and then at that time they all kind of go in and put a fresh top coat on. So once they're done building. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
We'll open up to the floor. Public, is there anyone here who wishes to speak in favor of the application? Anybody who wishes to speak against the application? Okay. Well, we have 3 motions that we need to consider. The first one is the rezoning from Ag District to Residential Rural District with an Agricultural Land Preservation Overlay District for only Lot 1. Can I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the rezoning of the proposed Lot 1 of Clear Creek Reserve.
Can I get a second, please?
I'll second it.
Can I get a roll call, please?
Tom Decker,
Yes.
Larry Yateman,
Yes.
Joanne Lawson,
Yes.
Mark Beggs,
Yes.
Tom Degenhart,
Yes.
David Rotis,
Yes.
and Chairman Randall Morris.
Yes.
Motion carries.
And then we need a motion for the preliminary plat for the proposed subdivision Clear Creek Reserve, located approximately 14621 Northeast 188th Street, with the conditions laid out in Exhibit A. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve the preliminary plat for Clear Creek Reserve at 14621 Northeast 188th Street.
Do you want the conditions in Exhibit A?
Oh, subject to the conditions as stated in the staff report, sorry.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Can I get a roll call vote, please?
Larry Yateman,
Yes.
Tom Degenhart,
Yes.
David Rotis,
Yes.
Mark Beggs,
Yes.
Tom Decker,
Yes.
Joanne Lawson,
Yes.
Chairman Randall Morris.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Finally, we need a motion for the final plat approval for the proposed subdivision Clear Creek Reserve with the conditions outlined in Exhibit A.
I'll make a motion to approve the final plat of the Clear Creek Reserve with the additions as set out in Exhibit A be attached.
Can I get a second, please?
Second.
Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Tom Decker,
Yes.
Mark Beggs.
Yes.
Larry Yateman,
Yes.
Joanne Lawson,
Yes.
David Rotis,
Yes.
Tom Degenhart,
Yes.
and Chairman Randall Morris.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, our final case is case number PZ 26-123. It is a request for the use of well water for residential use on residential low-density R1A zone property located at approximately 19810 North 69th Highway. Applicants are Jake and Andrea Osborne. Take a staff report, please.
Yes, Chairman, would like to add the staff report as part of the official record.
So be it.
So this is a request to use well water for residential use. The Land Development Code requires that the Planning and Zoning Commission and County Commission approve that use. The subject property has the red X on it. It's located off 69 Highway, not quite 20 acres, and it is a platted piece of property. Clinton County Water District Number 4 serves this area. I've not had one like this in my 12 years, but this is at their southern boundary, and the lot to the north is connected. But in speaking with Water District Number 4, they had no objections to the use of well water because their line is not going to be extended any farther south, was my understanding.
Could you repeat that, please?
Yeah.
Clinton County Water District Number 4, this is almost to their southern boundary. So the their water line would not extend any farther south to serve any additional properties. That's my understanding. The water line does serve the property to the north that says Hill Farms, but this would be the last property on that line, and it would not get extended any further. So the LDC requires that homes be connected to an enclosed water supply system. The only exception to that is only under unusual circumstances. Generally, that's when a water district can't supply a property. But like I said, this is the first time I've had one where technically they could, but they have no objection to the owner using well water. Staff is recommending approval with one condition, and the applicant is present.
But you said technically they could,
The water line could be extended to the south, and they could connect.
but I assume they don't have pressure or volume. I assume that's the problem.
Or they just don't want to.
I don't know that I have the answer to that.
I thought our land development code states that if water is available from a public water supply district, that it's required by the contemplated property being served to pay for and have the water main installed.
I can look at that while you guys discuss it. I don't recall it specifically stating that, but I could be wrong.
I'd also throw out that my experience in this part of the rural unincorporated areas is 98% of water wells have E. coli and insecticides in them.
You know, the only problem I'd have is, if the proper steps are taken and they test the water and you're right, it can definitely, in today's world with all that's around them, that could absolutely happen. But if they can test it and they can prove that that water would be, safe for them to drink, then if that's the way they want to do it, and it doesn't go against the regulation, then I say let them do it, but.
And a quick look at the LDC says that development shall be connected to an approved water system that meets the following minimum requirements. And then when you go farther in that section, there is a well water section that says well water shall only be approved under unusual circumstances by the Planning and Zoning Commission and County Commission. So I guess technically it says both.
Technically what?
Technically it says, yes, you shall connect, but then it gives you the option, if it's unusual circumstances, to use a well if it's approved by Planning and Zoning and County Commission.
Well, I know last time we had one of these came up, I was arguing against any wells. I mean, my biggest issue is you poke a hole in that aquifer and people put stuff down that well and they don't take care of it. You've contaminated a lot of water. But on the other side of that, if they can't get water, or if the water district's not willing to extend to them, I think that's probably an unusual circumstance. I mean, I'm not in favor generally of allowing water wells, but I think what Director Jones has pointed out is an unusual circumstance.
So is it simply that they don't object to it? That doesn't strike me as an unusual circumstance. Well, it's unusual in one sense, but it's not that they can't. They just...
My understanding is they could extend the water main,
Right.
and the owner, the water district, the owner would be responsible for extending the water main and connecting. And what I'm considering unusual for our recommendation of approval is one, I've never had a water district tell me that they don't care if they use a well or not. Generally, they want them to connect. And two, this is at the end of the line, and the water district is not planning on that water line supplying other people to the south. Because if there was further development, then I think the owner should extend that water main.
Someone's got to be last.
But it pays to be last, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Are there any other questions for?
Well, if the only thing is, and that water line ends at the property next to them, not on their property, correct? Okay.
My understanding is it ends closer to the. My understanding is it ends up in here somewhere. So they would have to run it from there along that frontage for one more connection.
At what cost? Okay. Yeah. So it's 3,000 to your property.
And I think we can, can we ask the applicant to come forward?
Let's have the applicants come forward and present information that's relevant.
My name's Jake Osborne, 19810 US 69 in Lawson. We were told that the line stops up there and it would just be our house on that trunk. So, I mean, to foot that bill for one home when there's no one going to be coming on to the south. And then where that floodplain is there on that map, we've got about a 4-foot culvert that's down there. We'd have to trench back over that. We wouldn't meet our frost depth on the water. We'd be fighting water lines constantly. We've got a well out there. It was tested better than bottled water. So the water amount and quality is there. So, I mean, that's kind of our justification on why we'd like to do it that way.
And what was the cost, total cost? I thought she said 30,000?
We haven't gotten hard numbers, but we were told it was going to be.
Sorry?
We haven't gotten hard numbers on extending the main, but we were told, I mean, you're looking at 600 foot plus, so even at 50 foot, $50 a foot, I mean, that's 30 grand right there just to run it. A minimum is 60 or 600 foot.
Yeah.
I see Tom's head spinning, so can you provide additional?
I'm going to abstain.
Any other questions for the applicant?
So I guess what I'm hearing, do you know that there's pressure and volume? Can they actually, if they extend that line, would you have enough pressure and volume?
I believe we would, yes.
Okay.
You know, you might consider getting an easement from the property owner to the north and install a private line to the south to your property. And besides the water quality issues, most lending institutions will not lend money on a property that's on well when rural water or potable water is available. And the monies you'll spend on the well, your pump, your pressure tanks, blah, 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 you'd be money ahead to, if it's only 600 lineal feet, that's a pittance. But that's just my opinion.
I'm a real estate broker out of Kearney. We've sold several houses with well water. We've never had lending issues with well water.
I'm sorry, sir, I can't hear your understanding.
Sorry, I said I'm a real estate broker out of Kearney. We've sold several homes with well water, never had an issue with lending on any of those, so that's not really a concern of mine.
All right.
Plus, we're planning on dying in this house, so shouldn't ever be another mortgage on it.
All right, very well.
Okay, any other questions? All right. If I could get a motion, we only need one. A request for the use of well water for residential use.
Hey, Chairman, did you ask for public comment? I don't think there is any, but I just want to make sure for the record.
Is there anyone here who wants to speak in favor?
Good to meet you, Jake. I know who you are.
Please give your
Derek Payne, located at 28401 Northeast 177th Street, Lawson, Missouri.
Okay.
So the Lawson Water District number 1, or the Ray County Water District number 1 out of Lawson, I sit on that board. And so a little bit of what I have to say has a little bit of merit to it going to this. And so one thing that they didn't say that if I were them, I would, and that is I'm running into this on a farm that I'm selling right now, east of Lawson, that does not have rural water and has to be a well. There's water located to the south, but the landowner across the road would have to grant an easement and there is no easement in place, and therefore he is balking and refusing to sign an easement. So if that water line does not already extend down through there, there is a high probability that there is not a easement already right there for the water district to even do that. So that landowner would also have to agree to sign that easement to allow that water line to be extended. And with that being said, I have been a part of that 3 or 4 times, and that landowner charged the individual that also had to pay to extend it in order to sign that easement. So just keep in mind that if that water line is not already there, that landowner also has to sign that easement. So it's not as easy as just extending it sometimes. That's all I wanted to make sure you guys knew, so.
Great.
Thank you.
And one last thing I just want to ask Kip. So the staff recommends to allow the use of well water as a sole water supply source for the property, right?
Correct.
Okay, so your recommendation is let them put in the well?
Yes.
Yeah, good. Okay. That's what we pay you for.
Is there
Not
anybody
enough
else?
after tonight.
Is there anybody else who'd like to speak in favor of the applicant? Anybody else, anybody here who wants to speak against the application? Okay, hearing none, I will like to, a motion regarding the use of well water for residential use on residential low-density zoned property located at approximately 19810 North 69 Highway. Can I get a motion, please?
No, you go
Oh,
ahead.
no, you go.
You go.
No.
Ladies first.
No, do it.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we approve use of well water as a sole water source, supply source for the Pretty, how do you say that? Friday property at approximately 19810 North 69 Highway, subject to the 2 conditions in the staff report.
I second that.
Can I get a roll call, please?
Larry Yateman,
Yes.
Joanne Lawson,
Yes.
Tom Decker,
Abstain.
Mark Beggs,
No.
Tom Degenhart,
Yes.
David Rotis,
Yes.
Chairman Randall Morris.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Is there any other business?
I do not have anything tonight.
Okay. Thank you. We're adjourned.
Amen. I got party.
Well, I was trying to look at the election results, it's like.